marker. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Fourth Wall. Today we're going to be talking about Disney and Pixar's Inside Out. Don't worry though, I'm not going to spoil the whole thing for you, mostly because more people need to see this movie. It was just so good, which was really refreshing because I feel like Pixar hasn't been on top of their game lately. I mean sure, Brave was really good, but it didn't really feel like any other Pixar movie. I don't know, maybe that was the point, but it definitely wasn't a masterpiece like some of Pixar's other films. Also, I don't feel like Monsters University was anything special. Sure, it was a fun college movie for kids to enjoy, but it lacked the spirit of the original Monsters Inc. Probably because Pete Docter wasn't directly involved. Speaking of Pete Docter, this guy needs to get more work fast. If you don't recognize him, he's the guy who brought us Monsters Inc. and Up, and boy, does this new movie live up to those expectations. It's got the heart from Up and the comedy we love from Monsters Inc. Plus, it's really smart. The intricate world they made to represent the inside of our minds was incredible. From how memories are stored to where ideas come from, this is a fully realized concept. So in the beginning, we're introduced to the 5 core emotions. You'll be happy to know that while these characters represent singular emotions, they're three-dimensional and have their own personalities that complement the emotion they represent. First, we have Joy, played by Amy Poehler. She's pretty much in charge around here. Her mission is to make her kid as happy as possible, and Amy Poehler kills it. She's simply glowing with happiness, and she can find the fun in any situation. I feel like this is the character kids will take to the most, just because she's so much fun. So at first, it's just Joy and our kid Riley, who's played by newcomer Caitlin Diaz. This girl does a really good job with the role, especially towards the end when it gets really emotional. So anyways, the movie starts with Riley as a baby and Joy is running the show by herself. Then we meet Sadness, played by Phyllis Smith from The Office. As you would guess, she's the exact opposite of Joy. She's essentially Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Always moping, always finding the downside to everything. I mean, she was just a drag. But you know, since she's Sadness, you can't really hate her for it. After that, we meet Anger, who's played perfectly by Lewis Black. He's just got this voice that sounds angry and pissed off all the time. Even when things are fine and normal, he constantly sounds like someone somewhere is annoying him. And every single one of his outbursts were great. I could watch that for days. Next we get Disgust, who is played by Mindy Kaling, who is also from The Office. She was much more of a minor character than the other 3, but she was still very enjoyable. She was basically your stereotypical teenage girl, just like, oh my god, ew, gross. I mean, she was a lot of fun every time we got to see her. And finally, Fear, played by Bill Hader. While he wasn't in the movie that much either, he definitely made a big impression. This was probably the most on-the-nose character, mostly because there's not a whole lot you can do with the emotion fear. I mean, he's going to be panicking and losing his mind like the entire time, and there's nothing you could really do about it because that's what fear is. But either way, he was an enjoyable character and he made me laugh. I mean, what more could you ask for? My favorite aspect of this movie was when you got to see inside other people's heads. Like in the trailer, you saw the conversation between the mom, the dad, and the child, and then you went into each of their heads to see what was going on and how their emotions were reacted to the situation. Without spoiling too much, I'll tell you that it happens a good few times in the movie, and every single time it's a lot of fun. Not only do we get to see it behind the scenes of what's going on with our emotions, but we also get to explore other different parts of the brain. There's Imagination Land, where we meet Bing Bong, who is essentially an elephant made out of cotton candy. For the whole movie, I was kicking my head, trying to figure out who did that voice. Finally, it came to me. His name is Richard Kind, and he also did the voice for Hopper's brother Molt in A Bug's Life. I really like when Pixar reuses their voice actors. I mean, Bing Bong may have been my favorite character. He was hilarious. My favorite lines from the whole movie came from this guy. I especially like that shortcut bit. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. They didn't just go into the imagination, though. They explored abstract thought, the subconscious, and even what happens to memories when you forget them. And we finally got an explanation as to why that one random song keeps popping up in our head. Finally, the last thing I want to say was this was a gorgeous movie. Not only were the environments amazing, but the character design was incredible. The humans looked great, but the emotions were beautiful. I like that they were fuzzy. They were like some sort of stuffed animal or something. It was really neat. It was absolutely beautiful, astoundingly smart, and infinitely enjoyable, which is why Inside Out gets my very first perfect 10. Thank you all for watching another episode of The Fourth Wall. The next time you see me, I'm going to be talking about Terminator Genisys. Until then, hit the subscribe button.